We gaan live.
From our empty movie theater Kriterion in Amsterdam to this first viewing session that works around the question how to move. And in this first installment that includes 4 works, we will approach and deploy the matter of narrativity in public space by questioning what's the story. And important to note is that the idea for this evening was, for this viewing session actually was developed in a time when we're still able to watch films in the intimate setting of 30 people per show. And we considered this as the perfect setting for a collective viewing night of media art with room for discussion. However, due to the current lockdown and thanks to the technical know-how of Jose and Nina, we decided to switch to the virtual by streaming the first 2 installments online for free. And so if you like this program, there is a donation link in the description. For now, I would say turn on your beamer, search for your headphone if you have one. And I would like to give the word to Sanneke Huisman. She is a programmer at LIMA and she has co-curated this program. And she will be the moderator of tonight. So, thank you.
Yes, hello everyone, and also welcome on behalf of me. Happy to be here, although not physically present in Kriterion. Wish I could be there, but that's just how it is. But we're still gonna move and gonna try to move, and we have some guests here with us, and that's Esther Polak and Ivar van Beckum. And welcome to both of you. And Ivar is actually in Kriterion as well. So he's the moving entity of tonight, and he's going to show us around in the cinema room whilst talking with us. There is a work by Esther and Ivar that we're going to screen tonight. We're going to talk about that, but they're also here to engage in conversation with me about the other pieces that we're going to screen, which Luna has just introduced to you. We're going to travel. Actually, Ivar is not our only moving entity. We're going to travel quite a bit from Luang Prabang to New York City, to Viborg, and then all the way to Philadelphia. So every artist has quite a unique way of displaying this city, this place, in which every time the technique, the video technique, the digital technique also plays an important role in the way the story is being narrated. So we're going to travel not only with a physical representation, but also with a technological or digital representation of the space. So, and I think these are some topics that Esther and Ivar are definitely going to be able to talk with me. So, happy that you're here. And as Luna told, there's also a work by Broersen and Lukacs. And Margriet Lukacs is also here with us, not for the entire night, but to talk a bit about the work, All or Nothing at All, that we're going to screen. So there's a lot to do. So I would say, besides Esther and Ivar, if you still have like any starting comment before we go to the first work?
Maybe I should say something about the cinema I'm in. It's totally empty lunas here, of course, and it's feeling very strange, but in a way I'm happy to be the one who is in Kriterion. So
I do envy you, yeah.
thank you for having me here.
And I think I forgot to mention all these things. I cannot say thanks for having me here, but thank you so much, Kriterion, for inviting Lima over and for this collaboration. So yeah, I think that's it for now. I think we're going to watch Emil Ziel's work, Western Digital. So enjoy traveling to Luang Prabang with us. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. And this was Western Digital by the Australian artist Emil Zeil, made during his residency period at the Rijksacademie. And what we saw is the triptych ritual, a procession that takes place every morning, in which Buddhist monks receive alms from the people that are along the way, as you saw. And it's about, like, it's just a daily routine about giving and receiving. They don't thank, they just receive in silence. So it's about receiving and giving. And it's an event, a physical event that takes place, which is documented by Emil. But what is documented by him mostly is people who are documenting the event, and also then turning the event more or less in a media event, so to say. So it also, there's a sort of adding value or importance because it's documented so vastly by everyone who is there. It's a physical event and it's an online event, so to say, or it's a distributed event. So it's about movement in space and movement across the internet network. So maybe this is the moment for Esther and Ivar to tap in and share your thoughts about this beautiful work with me and with everyone at home. And what I forgot is, as always, we have the YouTube chat open. So if you people at home have comments, remarks, questions for any of us, please drop us a line and we'll include that in the talk. So yeah, Esther, I can see you have something to say.
Not necessarily, but I saw it now for the second time because we watched the film already yesterday to be a bit prepared and to have an idea about the connection between the films. And it's so interesting to see this mediation taking place. And what I wonder whilst watching the film all the time is, who am I? You're so aware of your own voyeurism when you look at this, because what I also find, it would have been so, as a filmmaker, you would be tempted to first show the ritual and then only after a while show how many people are filming it. But that's not what Emil does. He gives you this information almost from the start. So it's not like you're immediately one of the audience. You're immediately part of the audience. I think it might be different when you see it in screening in a cinema, because then you have a totally different position. But now that we are all watching these works from our laptops, or people maybe also even from phones or tablets, then you become really one with the tourism. You become the tourism gaze in a way. It's very interesting because it means that many people actually travel to that location to be there physically, but what they do is the only people who do not have phones, even the people who give out the food, who are part of that ritual, make recordings. Yeah. Only the monks do not have phones, but maybe they hide them in their clothes or something.
But it's funny that you mentioned like that it's different, or perhaps different when you watch it at home, because I have watched it before in the cinema room, and we might also ask Ivar's experience. But indeed, for me, it also came more to me like watching it now at home. But maybe it's also the period that changed our view on things about mobility and recordings, so to say. But for me, it worked better, if I can say that, like watching it at home, that I felt being the receiver of all this documentation material. So I was more receiving it than witnessing it. In the cinema room, I was more witnessing Emil's work and the documentation of the documentation. And now I felt more like, yeah, as I said, receiving the documentation. So yeah, Ivar, how was it for you?
Well, I'm not totally sure because I missed the sound here in the cinema. So there was a pity, but definitely felt more of a distance between what I see on the screen than what I saw yesterday on my own laptop screen, because watching it on my laptop screen was more as if was kind of looking at my own footage, could have been my own footage. Yeah. So I watched it and actually asked myself, okay, who am I in this contraption of viewers after a certain moment, and who is trying to move something here? And what really struck is that I saw the monks walking, and then I thought, okay, it started out as something giving food to the monks, a ritual giving for them to live their religion, and then but now they become kind of a movement to keep the economy running. So they're moving through these along these people is a economic, a touristic gesture. And then I thought, okay, but what am I then? I am the viewer as well, the viewer of the viewer of the viewers. But I'm also an artist who makes things who that people look at. What am I compared to the monks? Okay, these kinds of thoughts went to my head yesterday.
And they didn't today, but that's also because you didn't have.
Yeah, I missed the sound. That was a pity, but it's yeah. But it's watching it in the some people in the audience. Who's talking? That's me. It was different, but the distance, as you said, it's like looking at your laptop screen. It's much closer than here. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't have the sound.
But it's funny that you both had an existential questioning while watching it, like, who am I? You both, I think both literally said the same, like, who am I?
Yeah.
but it is like it's really like also what is my role in all this? Because I am in the end consuming the documentation of something that, so to say, needs being documented to maybe have value, and something that was intrinsically valuable, maybe indeed because of tourism needs an audience and needs documentation to remain its value. So it's for me, it was a lot about like value making, but also maybe in the wrong sense. Like, did we ruin something that was intrinsically good by wanting, but with good intention? Because I think like people want to share it because of the importance that it has, but maybe it starts to lose it because of that.
It really questions the documenting these kind of things. When you look at it, it changes immediately.
Yeah.
And yeah. We were discussing it by any chance with another curator 2 days ago, what it means when you think the many online experiences that we have, and the fact that we cannot travel, and that we have to sort of find ways to believe a place without being there. And I think that that can bring a different approach to traveling, and to the need to travel, and even to care for a place by not going there. That was what we were discussing yesterday, and to invite somebody to go there to make documentation, not in order to make you want to go there, but to allow you to not go there, because you create a sort of experience of that place.
That would be also ideal if this change in tourism could occur, because that's also it. It's like there's always a need to be somewhere physically, but maybe now that it is impossible, we also see that you can be somewhere, you can really be somewhere, even if not physically.
Yeah, and there is a sort of care value in not going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, care for a place by not going, but of course then people want to trust that other people also are not going, because otherwise.
And still someone has to go, at least.
Yeah, that has to be sort of decided in democratic way.
Oh, it's getting complicated.
It has to be somebody who can make a documentation that is so valuable that you don't need to go there.
Yeah.
I think that the whole evening, when I realized what we're going to see, if I'm allowed to say something about the next film,
Definitely, yeah.
I think that will be very interesting with the mindset of this film to look at the next film.
Yeah, because it's indeed adding. It's also not like going there instead of you, but it's adding something in the representation of the place that you wouldn't find anyway if you were there. And that's also already what Emil. No, that's not what Emil does, but that's what the next movie does. That, like,
Definitely, yeah. The next movie does that, takes that to another level.
Apply on everything, but it doesn't apply on everything. But yeah, it definitely applies on the next movie. So maybe we should just like watch it collectively at home. Yeah, I would say next film is Plot Point by Nicholas Provost, and it lasts 15 minutes. So enjoy.
ambulance? Something, full blood. How's he doing? Okay. 100%. This horse can burn everything, the guns. Modern homicide investigation, cold blood. Last few seconds, the black and white everyone's plane. Stolen out of Fresno 2 weeks ago. Yellow pickup truck out of Whittier.
So the first one of these, we were a secondary unit.
Call me at 103 set landline.
This guy didn't do it. No cuts. No cuts. And the broadie's banging, tells the right story. She came back with this guy after she caught him. Pick him up on the street. Thanks.
What's coming out?
Just hold it, Captain. Vincent, he's not carrying anything.
We found this in the fleet archives. The guy said he saw someone with the female victim different from who she got caught with. This guy didn't do it.
All right, I'll see.
Yes, and we're back from the crowded streets of New York City in our own home environments or lost in a cinema room, wherever you want to be. Yeah, what did we just see? We saw a regular street documentation of just another day in New York City, but we also saw 10,000 movies and television broadcasts at the same time, and we saw a super exciting story that we probably all have another idea about what actually happened. So yeah, it leaves a lot of room for interpretation, but at the same time, it's so also putting us so much in a clear cinematographic framework that I don't know if we're free or that we are being limited by Nicholas in what we see. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I was definitely not free in choosing my emotions because I'm really triggered with all the sounds there were. So for me, it's a huge library of emotions thrown at me without me having any choice to react. And we had the sound in the cinema now, so it was.
Yeah, I was about to ask because the sound is so important in this one.
Yeah. It was even so
Okay.
so good. It was.
So I think now you definitely had the best experience.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it was definitely very nice. And what I really liked about this film, it not only uses all the sound cues or the sounds that you use for the plot points, as the film is titled as well, but also all the camera movements, the zooming in, quickly zooming in, and all those very short cuts, ping-ponging from one person to another as if they are talking to each other, like the whispering sounds. And at the same time, it's really weird because first I'm really triggered by all these things that I know from cinema that are very exciting, and then but you start to look good, and then all the people seem to be relaxed. So what's wrong?
What is going to happen?
That
the suspicion is built up in an enormous way.
But that's tiring at some point because you want this relief, you want like things to really happen. So you're like, I'm ready. But it's just not giving it.
Not happening. Well, at some point it is, for me at least, when there is this sort of music that is more melodic coming in, and then you go to a total different part of the city where for some reason there's only police cars that are doing choreography, or they have a défilé for themselves, and it is very strange because then you're in a world of course, in the beginning of the film, I felt that the presence of the New York Police Department becomes bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the film. Yeah, and
yeah, but
that's because at some point they start to talk, but you think, is that them really speaking, or is it just footage, sound bites from existing Hollywood films or police series, or doesn't feel like it's actual sound. It's also not lip sync, so
but
yeah,
it also constantly reveals itself, since indeed, like if you said people are just relaxed, or you have a shot that you see tension on the face, but he keeps the shot as long as that you also see the tension go back again to normality. So I think he's also constantly showing the way he is creating this atmosphere that makes it so interesting, but also so maybe sometimes not so fulfilling, that you're like, okay, give it, and then oh no, it's just not there. And that's also
compared with the other film, this has so much editing to it. I mean, the other film had also editing to it, but you saw the people who were filming probably did not edit it, and this was so much about also the joy of editing.
Yes, it's creating like everything out of nothing. Like it's that we saw so many characters, and that also made me think of, we once did a program about like in regard to Judith Butler's like gender trouble and the performativity of gender, and I also kept on thinking about that every person that like enters the street then also enters it as a character that is defined by the way they look or the way they have their facial expression, but also the way they are framed by the camera and by Nicholas. So we also don't see what they are, but we see what Nicholas like wants them to be, like in the stage of the city, so to say. So
yeah, and it's interesting what you just said, like people, you see the tension on their face and then it relaxes again, but then the sound doesn't, and then the cuts are like, okay, it's very exciting, but not everything is exciting in the image. So everything you expect to come together in a film is now ripped apart. So it's already also very confusing all the time. I had to think of Chantal Ackerman's Away from Home, News from Home, which are also the streets of New York, but so much easier. I really, I really longed for that one after this one.
Emptiness, yeah.
And what I really like in this time is very nice is I watched some conspiracy theory films the last few months, and there's a lot of suggestion in there, and this one reminded me of that as well very much. Yeah, it's only suggestion.
Yeah, and it's also, I was also a bit shocked how stereotypical it is. Like that, like the bad guys look as like the traditional bad guy. I don't know. There was like so much projection on characters. Like there was nothing atypical, because I think that wouldn't hold in it. Like it only plays with what we have been fed with along the years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that is a very Judith Butler like gaze, right?
I think so, but maybe I just had my gaze completely like like that. But yeah,
she also was super inspired by cinema.
Yeah, which makes total sense when it's about like.
The thing is, what I was thinking, if that gaze was like manipulated by the sound and the way it was cut, and not by the faces or the people themselves. I think the people were pretty normal. I think if the sound was gone, the people would be pretty
but
genuine.
Maybe in that I meant that like the choices Nicholas made were very stereotypical by putting like a certain dramatic music to make someone look like the potential bad guy, and the girl as a sort of innocent possible victim. I don't know. I thought there was a lot of like gender,
and also this weird backwards.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, that was strange. Like it made me think of Twin Peaks, where that was done, and you get really strange movements, and something spooky is happening.
Hey, did one of you understand what floating windmill-like things were? Did you notice them?
Behind the woman.
Yeah.
Behind the backwards woman.
Oh, no. At that moment.
Yeah. Actually. Okay, I was just wondering.
But this moment is so great because the first girl actually moves in reverse. So first you don't see it, and then she twists and you see that it's actually backwards. But it also does weird things with facial expressions.
Yeah.
It starts to be like a computer game figure, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What I thought was seen in the light of how to move. I thought, okay, there's a lot of moving going on here, all the city movements, light movements, camera movement. But for me, this one was most about how to move your audience in a way they cannot control. At least that it goes for me.
And you mean like
emotional moved?
Oh, yeah, okay. I was about to say, yeah. And this is also what really makes it slightly exhausting that you are to watch in a good way, but you're so aware of like how your emotions are being triggered, and you want to go against it, and you want this, this fulfillment, and it doesn't come, and then you have this stupid choreography, but at least you want that these cars go to the place where everything happened, that finally you have a sort of
solution.
Yeah, what happened?
Nothing of that.
Yeah, everyday life is just everyday life. It's a movie.
I'm really happy I don't have those sounds in my everyday life all the time.
That you don't live that soundscape.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
It's an extremely interesting exercise. I do that every now and then, to put like cinematographic music in my earphones when I just like cross the street, and then indeed everything becomes cinematographic. So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
you can also make your
good
own.
idea. Yeah.
Now that the cinemas are still closed,
Exactly.
people, this is something to explore.
This is everyday life cinema. Go and do it. Maybe we
Just put on
upload a
more
nice
of your favorite
soundtrack.
movie.
That would be nice. I think we're gonna slightly go into the next city, and that's the one of the oldest Viking settlements, and it's Viborg, Denmark. But not really. I think it's photogrammetry, but it's like it's a digital representation of a city in ruins. And it's a work by Broersen and Lukacs, and Margriet Lukacs is with us afterwards to talk about what happened here. So the next stage is Viborg, and the work is All or Nothing at All from Broersen and Lukacs. Enjoy.
Please don't bring your lips so close to my cheek. Don't you smile, I'll be lost beyond recall. The kiss in your eyes, the touch of your hand makes me weak. And my heart may go to see and fall. And fall. And if I fell under the spell of your call, I'll be caught in the undertow. So you see, I got to say no, 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 oh, nothing at all. Oh, nothing, nothing at all. And I'd rather have all or nothing, nothing at all. Nothing, all or nothing, nothing at all. And I'd rather have all or nothing, nothing at all.
Yes, and welcome back from the trip to Denmark, and welcome, Margriet. Thank you for joining us. It's so nice that you're here with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful work to watch, but it also raises quite some questions. Like here, we saw already Luang Prabang and New York City as spaces of like stages, so to say. But here we saw the city as the most literal stage, I would say. You really like created a stage in which a performance is happening by digital personas, and they sing and they dance. Yeah, I think my first question is like, why this place? Like why Viborg translated into a stage for this wonderful performance?
Actually, that's also related to New York, as in the former film of Nicolas Provost, because we used, well, first of all, we used this city, Viborg, just as some kind of a nostalgic ancient city of European, of a European history. So it stands more for like a traditional village of some sort from Europe. But then the choreography was based on West Side Story. And so we used Sol Bass like set design with all the walls and the territories that are constantly being restricted, you know? So everything is pointed out as to somehow like a little territory in which these gang fights are taking place. And we recreated those walls, but then within a European, well, nostalgic town, because Viborg is actually quite a like a sleeping town. And well, there's really old buildings, as you can see. And so, and then we also use the ruins of photogrammetry, as you said before. Nothing of this is really like captured on video, but it's all like animation. So it's a complete fictional setup. Although it's based on photography, it's we create our own set design. So we could create those walls, etc., to have some sort of restricted territory.
Yeah, and it's, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, there's a lot more to tell, of course, but maybe
there's also so many things to ask. Yeah, because this this stage, and it also resembles quite a lot a game-like environment. So you also feel like you're in a game, like exploring around, but maybe also the fact that these digital personas are added adds to that feeling. But what is also so intriguing is that they are all the same. So it's a collective of the same persona. Yeah, maybe you can
yes,
tell.
Again, because we got this question, of course, quite some times, and also to have first of all, it's coming from a song, All or Nothing at All. That's coming from Frank Sinatra's first quite macho hit, All or Nothing at All, and he sings that as some kind of a macho man who does want to control the world, I would say. And then so together with Nina Vatsold, the fantastic musician, and Berend Dubbe and Gwendolyn Thomas, she recreated this song into like a multi-vocal, very ambiguous song. I mean, for me, it's quite ambiguous, and all the straight, like the one-lined motto of All or Nothing at All, either black or white or this or that, that's completely reconstructed by Nina into like something that you have to think about. Is it either this or is it either that, or could it be everything? And at the same time, it's quite scary, I think, to have a world that's only inhabited by 7 white girls or avatars. I mean, they are not even like real. So in this film, it's mostly about what is there's this illusion on the screen that everything that you see is somehow taken for granted. Like as we had this emotion before. So as Ivar said, this emotion is being controlled. And that's what we didn't want to do with this film. We wanted to somehow break it up and deconstruct these kind of really specific gazes into history, into the future also, because this technique does look very digital. It's also about the digital world and the way we experience our world via our screens, and now more than ever because of the virus. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking what I find so interesting is that you use this technology that is normally used to maybe at least to document something, but maybe also to revive sometimes something that used to be there in the past. But now you purposely create also a ruin into this digital. I don't know if photogrammetry is actually completely digital, because like I think it was also already existing in other, I don't know. But in any case, a super technological device in which you could normally like construct a world that looks splendid and that you can envision yourself how it used to be, but now you purposely create a ruin. And I find this contrast also a bit eerie, but also so interesting. Like that you're a bit out of time, out of place, so to say.
Exactly, and that's what we wanted to make something that is groundless. We always make something that is groundless, borderless, immeasurable, and constantly on the move as your viewing experience when you watch things on your screen. It's also, everything is liquid. And this liquidity, I think, making photogrammetry that's creating out of thousands of photos, we create this virtual model of houses, of towns, of streets, etc., etc. So these models, they're very hollow. You see the illusion like building up, constructed. And that's also, well, what we mostly make work about, this construction of this illusion. And at the same time, you're being taken in, I could say. And at the same time, you might have to think, okay, what is this void that I see? What is behind my screen? What does it exist of? What are these liquid crystals? What is it actually what I see on my screen, and how do I experience my flat screen? Either when it's, when the city of Vibor is coming about from our black screens, as you see here. Well, you know, that we did that on purpose. So we started with the black screen, and then out of this black liquid screen, the city appears. The city rises up. Yeah.
For me, it was really strong when you hear the footsteps, but you see that they sink through the non-existing pavements. That's really there. It really becomes like tangible for me.
Yeah,
it's not tangible.
Yeah, we really do a lot with the sound design, that's for sure, and it really adds something. So also thanks to Peter Flamman and Berend Dubbe and Gwendolyn Thomas and Nina. It's such a big part of the work, and exactly we want to create this friction between the tangible, the thing, the physical even, and the non-physical, the virtual, and and have in that way also like this experience that you feel this void, or is it a void? What is behind this illusion? What is behind this endless stream of anything, you know, what's appearing on our screens? And could we somehow hold that, or silence that, or maybe get to it? I don't know how to say that, but yeah, that's definitely something that we want to create.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And at first, like, there seems such a big contrast between Nicholas' work and your work, but when you talk of it, there's also many similarities, that you show the techniques of building a narrative, or you show the construct of how cinema is made, or how like the stage is being set up, and you choose the complete opposites in the way you do so. But I think that at the core of it, there's definitely the same methodology, perhaps.
Yeah, but also what I thought about, because I really liked that conversation that you had about Provost's work, that he also creates some kind of a cage, this controlled cage of our view, of our gaze. And we show that kind of gaze, I think. We tried at least to show. That's why we don't have like a one person dancing through that town, but we'll have actually a gang fight between 7 the same person. So that makes it, everything is a bit evasive, I could say, but we do that with a purpose, maybe also.
Yeah, but maybe even like where Provost would show the stereotypical things to make us aware that they are stereotypical, you do the opposite, but reaching perhaps the same effect on us, that we are aware how we are used to look at gangs, or how like people are represented in cinema, and by removing that, we also are aware of that. We're like, why are they all the same, and why are they women, or why? So, and I think Provost also does the same by putting emphasis on that. The bad guy and the innocent girl, so to say. So
yeah, maybe also showing that gaze or showing that cage, or but maybe that's not only our purpose, but
no, that's not to say, but it's just now that it's always so nice to place things next to each other in nights like this. But of course, it's just a aspect of the work that goes without saying.
But it's beautiful how indeed sound and can make this construction of a geography. And we find out, because since we make every part of the setting ourselves, and we create this geography also of silences, of gaps, of black gaps, of frozen time. That also means that we work with sound also to create this space, and that space could be really narrow, but it could be also endless, and we constantly meander in between the two of them. And that also has to do with the way we use that photography, which is neither virtual, neither analog, neither, because it is made out of photography, which is normally like quite a penetrating, I think quite an aggressive kind of way to film a city, or with these landscaping, these establishing shots, and you really conquer a city, so to say, something that's maybe not your own, but you by filming it, you conquer it. And if you somehow make these gaps, or we try at least to make some space, literally to make some space in between the camera movements, to create some time that is not there in the beginning. So yeah.
Can I say something about it?
Yeah.
And I also have a question, because I indeed really like the, you see that the city is totally broken in a way, but even then you arrive in the alley and you see a person and you hear the footsteps and some echoing of a narrow alley. And then I at least get the feeling of this city. I get the feeling of a village. I get a feeling of houses. I get a feeling of reality. Although I know it's not there. And I think that's really beautiful. I had a question about when in the beginning it's black, but then it seems to be water. And I had an association with the flooding in Zeeland, like the 1950s.
Yeah.
Like a village that was underwater. And now you talked about like the black screen. Why? Can you tell me why you used the water or the flooding, or is it flooding?
It's also, it has like different meanings for us. Also because, of course, maybe in the not so far future, for instance, parts of Europe will be flooded again. And so this film was made in next to a giant lake, and so it is a water village, but that was not the reason that we wanted it to flood, but that has more to do with the liquid reality of our screens, and the way we view that everything is streaming, nothing is static. I mean, it all, something exists only when you can click on it, when it's interactive, when it's like endlessly moving on and on and on. So for us, this water was just a metaphor for the virtual world we are currently in. I mean, we are already in for a couple of years, of course.
Yeah.
And also, because of the disastrous floods that might be waiting for us in the not so far future.
Yeah.
So it's
that's indeed what I saw, because the all or nothing at all is kind of the do we have to decide for utopia or dystopia? Hopefully something in between, but it ended disastrous, right?
I don't know, is it disastrous? It's also like being locked up in this whole world underneath, which is like maybe part of the illusion. You could see it somehow like the sirens who were singing and trying to get us to their cave. Is that like a lucid dream? Is it a beautiful dream, or is it a horrid dream?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. I mean, of course, there's what I want to say. There's not two sides, and it's not neither good or bad, I think. But it could be read as a enormous dystopian movie, and also
I was kind of sad, indeed.
yeah, no, true. Yeah, but then I think at the same time, like the music, I don't know. There might be some things remaining, I hope.
Yeah. There's a beauty remaining, definitely.
Yes, an illusion of some sort. Yeah, I hope. Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because now that you talked of the water, I also had a memory of Armando's Zwart Water, like his black water that is now being reinstalled in the Kriller-Müller, and that also has the same mysteriousness over it, and also is it like just a deep void, or is it reflecting us? So there's also this dystopian utopia in the same mysterious way being represented. So
yeah.
Dystopia can be beautiful.
Yeah, to see as a seduction or as something that is horrifying at the same time. So yeah, I'm not like one way sided about it.
Luckily, there's room for positive notes for sure. Thank you so much, Margriet. It was so nice having you here with us.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the evening. I have to say good night to my little son. He is waiting.
Yes. Thanks for joining us, and see you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 So, and then we can go to a work that you know pretty well. What are we going to do? Are we going to say some words before? Are we going to go for the surprise effect? There's some things like Margriet was talking about, like creating space.
I think it's nice to introduce it a little bit, not too extensively. We moved to Philadelphia. It's a bit, Philadelphia is a 3 hours ride from New York. So there's always not really a competition, because Philadelphia is, of course, much smaller and more like a smaller town and less global. But it is, again, an American city. And we filmed that city also in a sort of digital way, but we don't construct everything ourselves. It's partly documentary. The sounds are recorded documentary, and also the trajectories of people, and that's what is the basis for this film.
I think that is all we need to know. So
that's all you need to know.
Yeah, we go to a collision of sorts, a 17-minute long film by Esther and Ivar. Enjoy.
You know, like life is good to him. I mean, it looks like he lives a 3D life. And what I consider a 3D life to be is one that is based on flesh.
also was one of the people that was a really, you know, there was that super strong like spiritualist movement.
He was a transcendentalist.
No, but this was
like
beyond.
the father of it.
Yeah, but this is actual like occult, like attendance at seances. And
oh, good for him.
I think that was him. There was a really strong.
His thing was like he believed in everything.
You know, like life is good to him. I mean, it looks like he lives a 3D life, and what I consider a 3D life to be is one that is based on flesh.
Isn't that like the Walt Whitman version?
No, that's not the Walt Whitman original.
He also was one of the people that was a really, you know, there was that super strong like spiritualist movement.
He was a transcendentalist.
No, but this was
like
beyond.
the father of it.
Yeah, but this is actual like occult, like attendance at seances. And
oh, good for him.
I think that was him. There was a really strong.
His thing was like he believed in everything.
Yeah,
at the
so
same
it makes
time.
sense.
All right.
Not yet. I have 12 seconds.
Okay. But yeah, he's a weirdo. But I wonder
as we go by Lincoln Financial Field.
Oh.
An ode to the Eagles. Okay, time to be serious. Now I will do nothing but listen. I hear all sounds running together, combined, fused or following, sounds of the city and sounds out of the city, sounds of the day and night. Now I will do nothing but listen.
Well, we're hearing sounds of the city.
We are hearing sounds of the city. And out of the city.
And out of the city.
We are at Bartram's Garden.
Yeah, now we're moving through it.
Literally.
Come here, Grace. You are. Come here. Come on, Grace. Down. Good girl. Down. Come on, girl, come on, girl, come on, girl. Come on, Grace.
under the L. Passing this little deli. Shopping plaza, Church's Chickens, a lot of car lots, used car lots, buy here, pay here kind of places, everybody's approved kind of places.
I'm at a very interesting intersection of spaces right now.
McDonald's, KFC, Taco Bell, only the best.
You probably hear the bus directly to the right of me. I'm at the corner of 29th and Girard Avenue. Lots of people milling about.
Well, I haven't quite crossed anybody yet. But you know, I'm looking into a barber shop, see a guy with a bald head.
Not the friendliest place towards bicycles.
I think in American culture, we think a lot about privacy. Each of us being entitled to a certain level, a little bubble that we live in. In the city, you're kind of confronted that everybody has that same idea. All your little private bubbles are all popped into one another.
Yeah, but Kensington Avenue, covered by the L, big, huge metal structure looming above, more and more car lots, buy here, pay here's. We do credit on the spots. Small stores, Chinese food stores, storefront churches.
And you're forced to interact with people that you know and don't know, people you want to know, maybe people you don't want to know. It's a collision of sorts, of spaces.
Passing a hitchhiker. Not the most common thing. Excuse me, miss.
I wanted to be forced to interact with my neighbors, to be out in public.
Cuts hair. Look like his life is good. Look like he's able to maintain himself and produce for him, his family, and everybody around him. You know. So he just looks like somebody who's living the American dream, so to speak. Rows of benches, poppy store on the corner,
small and tight, always packed. Single tokens. Folks sitting on the steps now outside. I hear the music from inside.
Whew! Have I ever been scared in the city? You know, I think I came to the city in some ways. I was drawn here to confront things that I was fearful of. You know, again, in the city you are, you know, even though it is a fairly still segregated city, there is so much, you know, collision between people. And I say collision in a way that's not scary, like a car accident or something like that, but really this beautiful intersection of so many different types of people. And I think it's something that you have to be open to.
You take EBT? I had to come grab something real quick. How you doing, Pop? You make you still making sandwiches? You got a small tuna hoagie? Yeah, just lettuce, tomato, yeah, everything, no hot, no sweet, no peppers. All right, thank you. Yeah, yes. Yeah, so we just stopped in the Poppy store, which is very popular in Philly. You know, they got the Poppy stores, the Chinese store, they got all, you know, all these stores in the hood or in specific neighborhoods, and they make their money. So I just stopped in here real quick. Just getting something in the back. I'll be right back in though.
Great.
I love Bruno.
He's so cute. How old is Bruno? He's so cute.
Not too many bike lanes. People that care about people on bikes. Oh shit! God damn! I ain't have no time to stop there, bro.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah. Shit, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. What about you?
I'm alright, ain't nothing broke.
You alright?
Yeah. Gucci's good.
You sure you good?
I'm good, babe. That's the sound of me getting hit by a car. You the same, man. That's crazy. Blocks away. Dude just walks up to me from across the street. Tells me to take my headphones out. I listen. He just saw me get hit by that car. Catches me, a couple blocks up, goes to the store, gets some Motrin and some water, gives it to me. Philly's beautiful, man.
Welcome back in your own living room. Oh, I have so many things to ask and to say in regard to everything we discussed. I think a lot falls into place or can be questioned. But first, I was laughing while watching the final or listening to the final concluding words of the work. Like, at least we don't have to ask ourselves the question if this ends on a utopian or a dystopian note. Philly is beautiful, man, and what a wonderful story that is. So yeah, we saw a city as a stage, or we didn't see a city, we heard a city, but I definitely saw it, like also besides the representation of the moving figures, entities in the environment. But what struck me most is that now we didn't see the city as one stage for one story, but we saw that the city constantly changes and constantly offers new stories and new ways of being explored. And I think all the previous works showed one narration as with the city as a decor, as a stage. And now it was way more an interaction. You see that the city maybe only exists when it's being interacted with, and that it's constantly changing depending on who is interacting with it.
Beautifully said. Thank you.
Yeah, while I was saying, I was also thinking, yeah, it's not the first time that I watch your work and that I talk with you. So that might also be. But I think now in the how the night evolved, it's beautiful that we end with a scene that is the most limited in visual stimulation, maybe, but is the most rich in the stories that are being told. So yeah,
you've said it all. It's really, we are always more also very much interested, and I was really wondering because I hadn't seen the film for a while, and I was really wondering, how do people experience it? So if anybody feels like saying something about that in the chat, make me happy, because I really wonder how it is to see this film for the first time and to experience it. Yeah, I was so super curious how that is for people.
I was thinking, I've watched this work now both on my computer screen and in the cinema room, and I wouldn't say there is so much, like in the other works we definitely said like, yeah, this work is better, like, or better, like more suited for cinema screen, and on this one I don't know, but I do know it's very different. It also maybe has this directness that we said in regard to Emil's work, that because you are also used to experience Google Earth, like it brings back more memories, like also first time going on Google Earth on your computer, like, and watching the world and imagining stories. So there's more directness, but this the documentary value and the cinematographic value of the city maybe gets more opened up on the cinema screen, but it definitely has two as many potentials or so.
Yeah, I think in a way we do as the film before this one does. So we use a kind of a world that suggests something real, like the village in All or Nothing at All, where you can get a hunch of the reality, and then you are distracted in that film by a dance, and then you just figure for yourself that you're in a kind of a realistic environment. And I think in our film it's kind of the same, where you get these real sounds, these documented sounds and voices, and people talking about what they see and what they hear. And I hope and think that as an audience, you put the images you get with the sounds together and create the world. Because you expect when someone talks about stores or storefronts, you immediately either imagine something like that, or see something in your mind's eye, or remember something like that.
Jongens,
So
there's one person whose mic is really making a noise.
Could be mine.
Yeah.
So I think it has the openness to create a lot by yourself.
Yeah, because I also say I saw the city, but I've never been in the city and I didn't see anything. But I definitely have now in my mind a clear mental vision of the city. Like,
Philadelphia.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
And how did you find those people, and what were the instructions that they were given whilst they were doing this exercise, so to say?
How we made the recordings, you mean?
Yeah, because I think you were there, you met people and you gave them some instructions, and then because you are not there with them, they are just there
on their own. Yeah, that's very important. They're there on their own. We sort of developed a way so that they recorded their own audio and their own trajectory. And when they came back, we downloaded everything and we combined it. And then only we saw what had happened. So we've watched a lot of footage of people exploring the city and being surprised by what had happened to them or not. Some tracks were really calm. So it was really different. And the city is told by itself. That was kind of the concept. Yeah, we wanted the city to explain itself to us. Yeah.
Through the inhabitants.
Yeah, and through this mysterious green entity in the valley.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's happening there?
We never revealed it.
The shape is so beautiful. Like it can't be a bird. That's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's a really slow one.
We can do a guessing game probably for an hour, and you're just not gonna. But did anyone ever guess it? Did someone say, "Oh, it's probably"?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
We never revealed.
But maybe it's good to tell that it's the film is the product of a larger project in Philadelphia, where we let a lot of people walk around in the city, but we also put microphones on a trolley. There's a tram, so it's a tram, for example, or a how do you call that machine? Kind of a caterpillar machine. And all that footage is online. So basically we made this film out of all of that footage. And the story we created afterwards. But we had for this project, it was the idea of letting the city explain itself through people or objects moving through the city. It's all really about moving. And with the people, we did a lot of experiments, how we could them walk through the streets and let them freely talk, because that is really, really difficult to ask people for a project which they do not really understand.
We didn't even understand it at that
exactly
point.
Maybe we didn't even exactly where we went with this project, and so we had to give them really good instructions to feel free. That was really difficult, but very, very fun. As you hear the people in the films now talk, how free they talk about what they see and what they think. I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, definitely. But you also see that it works maybe best if there's an interaction. So there's the fighting dogs, and of course there's the accident. And I also think you still feel a difference, that people more show direct and real emotions. And of course something frightening happened to him. But that's you hear also a switch in the way he talks. That is first more talking to you or to himself, and then something happens, and there's a sort of even more realness to it, or a more direct emotion. So that's also interesting, that interaction still triggers another kind of
he was pulled out of his story that he was talking into and I don't know if you remember, but it was kind of the same with the woman on the bridge, where she talks about the collision with people, not the accident but meeting people, and then the people in the car shout, "Hey!" and then she starts laughing a little, so taken out of her story.
Yeah. I think we have an analysis in the chat.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow. Can you read it?
From Laura. Yeah, definitely. So first of all, thank you for the evening. About the last screening, I had a hard time feeling, Philly. Maybe the Google logo disturbed me, but mostly I felt in an eerie digital world pretending to be real. The real was coming from the voices for sure, but still, even hearing the accident, I couldn't experience it somehow. I felt so disconnected to the world we could hear behind the voices. And then I think the fact that they were alone made that feeling, that they were alone made that feeling even stronger. A ghostly narrator of the city, perhaps. And then that's it. But then someone then asked, was it a squirrel?
It was just another ghostly narrator of the story. I really like that one.
And we have more analysis also by Luna. My response in film, for me, hearing the sounds of someone constantly passing other sounds, creatures, places, thereby catching snippets, I consider the film as a nostalgic trip.
A nostalgic film.
That's so nice.
Never heard that one, but it's great. Yeah.
Margit is also there in the chat. Great film. For me, it was also a bit eerie about Google, perhaps about being controlled by the big all-seeing eye, Google, that captures everything.
Yeah.
I think that was in a way, it's the Google logo, Google Earth logo constantly in there is on purpose, of course, I would say. There were more people complaining about it, but for us, it's very important that it's not just a self-created 3D world, but it's really this copy of the world that Google made with satellite pictures made by other companies, and also with the help of people making pictures, etc. So it was really important that also people can get that eerie feeling of walking around in this virtual Google Eye. Yeah, that's really important.
It's
funny. Yeah, to us it was always also important that it is a very recognizable space. So it is it is a sort of fabricated space, but everybody uses it to go somewhere. If you want, if you go on holiday, if you've been there, or if you plot your trajectory, everybody is familiar with this construction. So we were really interested in using something almost public, a digital public space, rather than making something ourselves.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that it's funny. I feel so uncritical because I was the one thinking, oh, it reminded me of the first time using Google Earth, and now everyone is like, bad Google, all-seeing eye, and I was just like
celebrating that experience.
But
like, that this is a new way of experiencing a sort of cartographic reality.
Yeah, it's also I never used Google Earth at only when I was young and when it was just launched or so. So there was this sort of childish enthusiasm that came back a little bit. But
you never used it no
better. No. And I even thought it didn't exist anymore.
There
were some.
It does still, and it's a kind of a something laying under Google Maps. So It's a bit,
was it difficult to work with it actually? Because there must be so many restrictions on how to use the
no, it's like a 3D environment that is used in either to create games or something. So all the camera movements and also the object you see moving or appearing, which are the GPS tracks of people, that's all coded. So there's no, you cannot edit in it just only by code.
Okay.
But we had some software developed to synchronize sound with the GPS, which is really important. I think you notice it when the woman is at the crossing and she said, I'm at this crossing. So that should synchronize really good. And also with the accident.
Yeah.
Of course. He's okay, by the way. And that's the part we had developed, which creates a kind of code by itself. But a lot of it is, it's okay, but it's coded. Yeah.
We were really curious after what it would do, because this was the first time film we made with this idea of combining GPS tracks with sound recording rather than a normal film camera. And we were really curious what kind of cinematographic experience that could mediate for audiences, and how you can get to an experience where you're really traveling with a person, or where you get this experience that the city has so many people creating it at the same time, and still you see only this one person in their own bubble, which also the one woman herself describes. And it was really an experimental film in that way, to see what kind of experience you could create and what it does to. That's why I'm always also super curious after what it does to people, because when you make it, you cannot have that fresh experience no more. And basically that's what I'm most curious after still.
Yeah. No, but we had some nice
exactly
analysis, which is super nice.
Yeah. It was also really interesting to show the film to people who live in Philadelphia, so whose city it is, and whether they recognize it or whether they feel like it depicts their city. Yeah.
There was someone in the audience, I remember, who lived there like for 60 years, and it was really mad that he didn't recognize the city.
He couldn't locate.
Even not like basically where are they? Even on the map, he couldn't.
No. And it's so green. Philadelphia is not green, but you see, of course, in satellite image, you see all the trees from above. Those kind of. But what I really
that is bigger than the house, because the houses are not no high rises. So the trees are mostly bigger, higher up than the houses. So they cover kind of part of the roofs. So you get this super green.
But I also think it's because of the narration, because even in your own city, like when you live with people, then you try to describe where you were, and then it's a place that you cross every day and others cross every day. But when you describe it, people don't recognize it. It's like, yeah, it's a place where there's a little church with the orange thing, and then people never see that thing. And for you, it's so obvious. They look at something else. So
they have other landmarks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, we were very interested in recording the city, not so much the center, which everybody identifies with Philadelphia, a very small part, but we really distributed ourselves or our protagonist all over town, and Philadelphia is very, very stretched. So there's a lot of spaces and neighborhoods that are more or less having their own spheres and are very disconnected from the center, because it takes 1.5 hours to get to the center sometimes by public transport or even by car. Yeah. So let alone by bike.
That's why many more stories.
Yeah.
Well, we have another small analysis. I felt very close to the streets and landscape. It was like walking the streets and landscape with my eyes. I was surprised how immersive the green landscape felt with all its height differences. So,
wow, nice. Yeah,
that is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Although it's very interesting because you have the height differences indeed there. This is kind of a small valley, but the trees don't have any body. Nothing has any. Nothing has body. Nothing has volume.
No photogrammetry.
No, it's not.
Only over the curves of the landscape, very rough. Yeah.
And now there's actually a last comment coming. Thank you, beautiful experience. Also because I know the city very well and miss being there. Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Really
For
good.
some, we were there 7 months. I miss people, but I don't really miss the city. It was a really loud city. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
that was what made me think it Nicolas Provost movie. Philadelphia felt for me as if I was constantly aroused there. Yeah.
But that's also what the documentary a bit also shows, like.
Yeah.
And that's also the contrast with this like super isolated bubble, but you see that you're never actually in that bubble. There's always people like reacting to you and wanting something and like in your way and that kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now you also can't travel. So now is what is currently your space of creation? Like, is that just empty streets in the Netherlands? Like, what is like
for us now?
Yeah, I mean nowadays, because that like was a completely interesting experience for you to explore a city far away. But now I think you're also just like us, limited.
Grounded. Yeah.
Does it feel limited or?
I think the first thing we made is a short video in a very desolated part of the Netherlands with the sun being very low, so long shadows only.
In March.
And, in March, yeah. So when it's all started, and it was kind of similar to this, also very lonely, quiet, strange shadow.
Meditative.
Yeah, I've seen it in the one that was being shown in Oude Kerk.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, but that was something I could way more easily relate to.
Definitely, yeah. There was this video that helped.
Yeah, but also that was a landscape that like I know so well. So it's so interesting that then you feel it also feels like coming home. Anyway.
Yeah, and we did a project in op de Onderschelling this summer for Oerol. That the festival went totally online, and we went there to make sound recordings. A little bit inspired by the method that we did sound recordings in Philadelphia, but even more extreme. Yeah, so we made a podcast with recordings of the island, of locations of 1 hour. So we had a recording of the beach for just 1 hour to offer people the opportunity to travel with their ears to the island and to relax on their balconies or whatever space they had available, and still have the experience of the Schelling.
It's interesting because in this, it's the opposite of what Provost does. He shows something, and by adding the sound, he creates the. Or no, yeah, and you both work with sound, but in such a different way. That's what I was trying to say, like having sort of opposite.
Yeah, I really liked looking at Provost's movie, but it does so much to me. I don't think I couldn't make it, nor do I think I want to make it such extreme thing for myself.
Oh, I felt really like, editing is so much fun. I would really like to make something like that.
Okay, you have something to talk about.
Yeah.
The two of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Eva and Esther. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Sanneke.
Yeah, I really liked it as well.
Yeah, and thanks everyone at home for watching and for commenting on the work. It's super nice. And only thing that I want to say is that I will be back next week with the second installment. Then we're going to talk about the public versus the private body, the collective body in public space. And Sander Breure and Witte van Hulzen will be here with me to analyze all the works that we're going to show. There's also works by Julika Rudelius, Alicia Framis, and Jeroen Offerman. So super much looking forward to that. Margriet, if you're still watching, thanks for joining. And also thanks to Jan-Pieter and Luna at Kriterion, and to José for taking care of the technique of tonight. Okay, see you all later. Have a nice day.
Okay, see you. Thank you, Sanneke.
Bye.
Bye.